gentlemen, welcome to another thought-provoking episode of the Rocket Radio Pit. I am your host, Rocket, and let's get it on.
Like a donkey beat. Jealous people are clamoring down now, baby. Like to tear up the street.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is your host, Rock. I'm so happy to be here. You can also find my show on Spreaker.com. Spreaker.com. Hey you guys, listen. I wanted to do a follow-up from my wonderful video yesterday. Apparently some people thought it was racist. It's not. And you know, at some point, white guys are going to talk about black guys. You can just talk. It's not going to kill you. It's not racist talk. No one's coming at you with knives. So, it's just, we need to think about stuff. And if nobody ever wants to question the gorilla in the room as to why 1 million black babies are aborted, or as to why black men are being thrown into prison like it's a conveyor belt, if you guys don't want to talk about it, if you don't want to hear a white guy talk about it, if we got to shuck and jive to make everybody happy because we don't want to talk about touchy issues about why men are being thrown in prison like a conveyor belt, then as a white guy, if you're going to stab me in the face for bringing it up, then we just won't worry about it, us white guys, and we'll move on worried about our stuff. The point of making political commentary is to stimulate ideas and to stimulate questioning of your environment, to stimulate the status quo. Are we sure this is what we really want to do? And no, I don't want my 6-year-old grandson to be hip-hop thug. Nope, I really don't. So enough of that said, I know that might cause a controversy and probably get my show banned. It's just a matter of time anyway. I also wanted to address, every once in a while I'll make a comment that no one's listening, and a guy came on and said that I use too much filth and I never get to my point.
Jesus Christ, why don't you make some videos for a change? I've been making videos that are shorter and shorter so I can get to my point because people's attention span's only 1.5 minutes. In fact, most people have already clicked off of this video because they don't have the fucking spasticity to fucking listen. And as far as filth goes, once again, I consider myself pretty much a conservative on filth. I don't really care for filth all that much, and I do swear. I think one of the reasons why I swear, because I don't swear all the time, but I like to swear on my show because I like to flex my First Amendment muscles. I wanted to design a talk show that was different from other talk shows. I wanted to be a talk show host that you could trust, that I wasn't co-opted. I may be incorrect. My facts may not exactly be right. I might be characterizing when I'm quoting somebody. I am not the smartest, best-looking, richest guy in the world with a bunch of bestseller books. I got nothing to sell you. I never ask you for your fucking credit card. So it's free entertainment. I was just doing the show for its awesomeness. I've had people tell me a bunch of times, that was a great show, and I don't think they're just blowing wind up my skirt. They really liked the show. It's hard for me. Sometimes I listen to the show and I think, God, that was terrible. But most of the time, I have shows, for example, if you just look back a few videos, there's like ones with 58 views, 78 views. Some of them are fucking killer, man. They're tight. They're 7 minutes long. They have a beginning, middle, and end with a little comedy, supposed to be funny, thrown in there. I try to do a good show that's entertaining. Unfortunately, I already know that truth, wit, and sarcasm and anything strange is going to be treated like the plague from the mass media. So I don't expect the retards in the herd to really dig on my show. And I don't expect the unintelligent to be able to sit down like big grown-ups and put on their big boy pants and discuss racial problems that are plaguing this country. And as a white guy, once again, if you keep kicking me in the face every time I try to bring something up, I don't care anymore. You're going to get me to the point where I'm indifferent. I don't care about the black race anymore. Right now, I do care. You know? What am I supposed to do? And the Jew thing. Always hate speech against Jews. The more I find out about what's the deal, did you know they tried to do the 6 million Jew Holocaust fakery after World War I? Did you know that? This shit with the Jew guys never ends. And once again, for people that don't really listen to the show, they'll just, click off now and go somewhere else.
It isn't all Jews. I don't give a shit about Jews. I was raised in California. I don't think I've ever seen an Orthodox Jew face to face in my life. I have no inert prejudice about it. What I do have a problem with is that my country is spinning out of control down the fucking toilet. And I try to examine what is causing this. Oh, Obama. No, it's Bush. One thing about you Obama bought stupid asses you don't get. We hated Bush. Dude's a piece of crap.
And was assured by our Justice Department that we were not torturing.
It's been reported that with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, he was what they call waterboarded.
I'm not going to talk about techniques that we use on people. One reason why is because we don't want the enemy to adjust. American people need to know we're using techniques within the law to protect them.
And Obama comes into great hope. It's not my fault that Obama is a flop. It's not my fault. And he said all the right things. You couldn't have elected a more diametrically opposed political candidate than comparing Obama to the establishment, and look how much change we've gotten. Meanwhile, our civil liberties are going down the tube. The wealth of our country is going down the tube. The relationship between the sexes is going down the tube. But what we need are more fascist, lesbian HR people. That's what we need. We need to feminize the workplace. Well, that brings me to an interesting topic on today's topic on the Rocket Radio Show, is why don't men want women over 50? It's so strange because a 50-year-old man wants a 21-year-old or a 19-year-old, Women don't get it. Women, if you're in your 40s and you're contemplating a divorce because you're bored, you should know what bleak prospects you have. An example of this would be my first wife. She wrote me a letter and she told me how lonely she is. She's just alone. And she's dated a few times, a couple of wrecks, including myself. But one of the guys she got was a good guy. And as the dating progressed, something came up about whether they were officially dating or not. And he couldn't really give a definition. He didn't want to say they were, per se, dating. And she was like surprised, so what is it? And like I said, he couldn't give an answer. And eventually she realized it was just friends with benefits. And that didn't work out, so she moved on. And I wish that I could write her a letter back and give her some advice, but she didn't listen to me when I was married to her, so why would she listen now? Unfortunately, if you're a woman over 50, especially 45 to 50, and especially if you've got kids, that kid is always going to be your priority. Why would a guy, in his 30s or 40s want to marry some chick that's 50 that in 10 years is going to be 60? Men are genetically programmed to go for younger chicks. Now, I'll give you another example. I happen to know a couple that's been married since high school. They're high school sweethearts. And the lady is the most funny, witty, and charming. She's just the nicest lady, but she fucking despises her husband. And what do you know? He cheats on her. So they go through this ritual of living in the same house and paying for two, teenage sons going to college and maintain this false marriage while he runs around with a secret relationship. Meanwhile, she's a chick. She's still married. I think she still loves him the way she's so hurt. But they just don't get it. That chick's gonna wind up divorced and she's gonna hate men even more. Except that she'll be like 53. What man wants a 53-year-old woman? They don't. They want 21-year-old chicks, man. They want hot chicks. And when you're a 21-year-old guy and you're gonna be a success, Most chicks your age don't give you the time of day. Women don't seem to understand that there's like a stock market price between their legs, and it's constantly going down after like age, I don't know what, 24? You know, women, you want to be a cougar, you got some money, you're well established, you're in your 50s. The only guys you're going to get are younger guys looking to get laid. Why would any younger guy want to hook up with you when you're going to be an old woman before you know it? Now, it's a nice double standard because, as I'm speaking for myself personally, I'm getting better and better looking as time goes by. I'm not much to look at now, but I think I'm more to look at than I was even, say, 10 years ago. So, for men, you just look for a hot piece of ass. That's what you're looking for, and any man that says that he's not is probably lying. So, I just wanted to let these women know, if you're in a marriage now and you feel dissatisfied, you better think long and hard about it. Because, you know, I specifically told my first wife, do you really want to be 42 and divorced twice? You're going to wind up in poverty. You know, I'm not beating you. I didn't drink on you. I don't lie to you or cheat to you. My job is pretty good. But you're just unhappy and you need to bail. And I said that's certainly something that you have the right to do. But, you know, I don't want to tell her I told her so. But I told her so. And young men, dude, do not get married. Why, in God's sakes, would you get married? And if you are married, especially if you're in California and you've been married less than 10 years, you should do a gut smell test. If your gut is telling you you're not happy, you should get out of there before it goes bad and you wind up having to pay that chick for the rest of her life. And then, of course, she has no incentive to get remarried. And young men, don't be stupid and fall for these chicks that have kids. It's dumb. You should tag and run. Chicks that have kids are always going to put you second. You're going to wind up paying for some kid that you're not their real dad. You have no authority over them. You'll jump into a relationship with a kid that's 6 years old. You'll get no time up. You're a 25-year-old man. You don't know how to be a father. It takes time. You start off slow. I mean, a baby is just a little teeny tiny pooping diaper baby for a year. You don't have to develop any deep psychologies or disciplines or a whole bunch of other things you're going to have to tackle later. And it gives you a chance to ease into fatherhood. You might think it's cute, or you might think that you're a white knight by jumping into a relationship with a chick that has a kid already. But that chick is looking for resources, dude. And I'll tell you something else. When something better comes along that's going to better serve her son or her daughter, whatever, she's out of there. Not to mention, most of the time, these stepkids have severe problems. And you may not want to do. You could spend your whole rest of your life being a stepdad trying to fix that stuff. And every 2 weeks, some alcoholic abusing asshole that got his sperm in there is going to be in your life on the weekends. You are going to be sitting in court dealing with that at some point, most likely. In fact, I remember in my first marriage, I thought to myself, about 7 years into it, I thought, some people have cancer. We have Chuck, your ex-husband. The guy is like a jock itch that just doesn't go away. I'd have him standing in the front yard threatening me and shit. The guy was a big dude, man, threatening me. I call the cops come, and what do they say? I could arrest both of you. And not to mention he was a lying, manipulative, Machiavellian psychopath. But they deserved each other. In the long run, looking back after all the stuff and knowing the whole story, this person, that woman, my first wife, would have been far better off to stick with her first husband. She would have been far better off. And listening to her at length at what was wrong with that guy was absolutely nothing that isn't normal. She just was dissatisfied. Feminism is such a false bunch of bullshit. What you did, you were worried that your husband was somehow your master and oppressing you. So what you did is you started bringing your offerings to